Hey guys, what's going on? Alf here with another video. In this video, I'm going to be ranting about the Xbox One. I know there's probably a million of these videos on YouTube about people ranting about the Xbox One, but this is just kind of like my complaints about the thing, and kind of a, like a relatively civilized way. I'm not going to yell and curse about it, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a console. It's not something worth getting that upset about. But I do want to just kind of say my ideas about it. Really, the impetus for me making this video is I went back, I've been playing some of the older games on my 360, and then I go back to the Xbox One to play like Madden and NHL and that stuff. NHL, by the way, looks amazing on the Xbox One, NHL 15. But forget that. And so when I go back to the 360 and then I go to the Xbox One, the Xbox One, it looks like a big Windows phone. It just doesn't look like the kind of thing that's friendly and inviting to play games on. It's not. And, you know, I can't believe Microsoft did this, but the whole point of the Xbox One, as I'm sure many of you know, is kind of to be like a media hub. You know, the idea that in your living room, and Microsoft's huge on this. If you look at any of Microsoft's branding where they show pictures of the Xbox One, it's like shown in this, you know, this perfectly clean, neat living room. You don't even see wires coming out of it. They don't even show you all the wires. You don't see a cable box. It's just this, you know, the dimensions of the room are perfect for playing a Kinect. When anybody plays a Kinect, you have to have like a huge room to play a Kinect in, just how sensitive the thing is. But other than that, for most people out there, that nobody wants that, because if you think about it, you know, at least in America, I don't know how it works in other countries. If you want to watch TV, you know, you need a cable box, or you need something to access live TV, because, you know, Netflix and Hulu are great, but at the end of the day, you know, live TV, live sporting events, live anything, most of the stuff on TV, you know, unless you want to wait for it to be on these, you know, Hulu and Netflix and all these places, if you want to watch something, 99% of the time you're putting on the TV to watch it. You know, if you want to watch the news, you put the news on. You don't, you know, you want to watch ESPN, you put on ESPN. If you want to watch NFL Network, you put on NFL Network. You know, like Apple TVs and, you know, all these other things that kind of want to replace cable boxes can't win, is because to get live TV, to get the stuff you want to see, you need a cable box. So, you know, you've seen some people kind of, you know, like Apple's rumored to be trying to come out with a live TV service. Say, you know, I don't know if that's going to work or not. But, you know, really, for a lot of people, for most people, you know, you use a cable box. Or if you want to watch a Blu-ray, you have a Blu-ray player. But Microsoft wanted to take all that and put it into one thing. And then they also want you to use the Kinect, which is ridiculous, because first of all, you have to have like a perfectly sized room with plenty of length to use a Kinect to make it work properly anyway. Otherwise, it just tells you to back up every 2 minutes if you've used the Kinect. But other than that, you know, like most households, you know, where you have more than one person, if you want to watch the TV, you know, somebody else might not even know how to use an Xbox One to change the channel. Nobody wants that. So at the end of the day, the Xbox One, you know, just the whole design of the thing, and, you know, Microsoft admits this, everybody, you know, most people know this, it's not a game console. It's a media console that, you know, has many functions, but it, you know, it also plays games. It's kind of like a secondary feature of it is you can play games on it. I mean, if you remember a couple years ago when they announced all the DRM, which is digital rights management, you know, all those things about the Xbox One, like you couldn't share games with your friends, and you had to connect to the internet every 2 minutes, and all this was so, like, people were about to riot in the streets. That's how unpopular that was, and Microsoft quickly turned all that around. I've never seen that before. Usually companies, you know, when they announce these things, it's, you know, it's unpopular for a while, but they usually stick to their decision. The people kind of forget about it. But it was just so amazingly unpopular that, you know, Microsoft, they canceled the whole thing. But then I guess, you know, to give up all that DRM stuff, you can't you can't just install games once, because then somebody would get a game from their friend, install 10 games, and never buy it. And all that does is show how Microsoft really planned for the Xbox One to be, because you got to figure that, you know, not too long after the 360 came out, and the 360 came out, like the first 360 that came out was in 2006, I believe, and then the Xbox One came out 2013. So, you know, so 7 years of planning, you got to think, you know, maybe a little bit less than that. That's what they came out with, because, I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft, that's really the console they wanted to make. But, you know, luckily, they listened to the fans, and all that DRM stuff was gone. They've turned so many things around on the console. There's, you know, it's really more focused on games now. That snap menu, or whatever it's called, like you know, if you think about the Xbox 360 guide menu, where you could kind of access your party and, you know, messages and things like that, they brought that back, just kind of in a little bit of a different way. It's now kind of on the side. So slowly over time, they've been kind of putting it back to really what people want, and that's close to the 360. But when I was on my 360 a few days ago, I mean, I think about like the avatars, editing avatars, you know, gamer score, achievements, parties, notifications, just the whole thing with the Xbox 360 was built masterfully for playing games. It was perfect. Like, you know, you want to play a game, you want to talk to somebody, party invite opens up. On the Xbox One, it takes me a few minutes to figure out how to even invite someone to a party. I know, you know, some people I'm sure have figured it out because I haven't played it for that long, but it's clearly, and anyone can agree about this, the focus of the Xbox One is not games. They make it harder on the Xbox One. You know, if you play the 360, you know, the guide menu, which I think was perfect, it was brilliant, you know, avatars, just the whole operating system was just perfect, I think, for playing games. And so the Xbox One just isn't. It's just not a game console. It's just, I mean, it's a nice thing to have for the people who want to use it the way it's, you know, intended to be used. But for most people who just want to play games, it's not designed for that. It doesn't. It just makes that harder. I mean, sure, the graphics are a little better, and it, you know, it plays Blu-rays and things like that. But it's really, it's just not. It's really, you know, it just misses the mark as far as the game console goes. But, you know, Microsoft, I mean, for a company like Microsoft to have a thing, and I don't know if you've seen this, but on the website you can submit ideas, and if it gets enough votes, somebody at Xbox will answer it. So I think for a company like Microsoft to have that, it's just amazing that they're actually, you know, trying to listen, which I think would only happen in their case if it's really missing expectations and they're not making, you know, the kind of money they wanted, which is the result of it being as unpopular as it was with some of the decisions that they announced. It really takes that much opposition from consumers for these companies to listen. I think you really, though, have to give Microsoft a lot of credit for having backwards compatibility in the Xbox One, which they announced at E3 this year a while back, and it's supposed to roll out this fall. Because not even Sony, who everybody praised for having, you know, the PS4 be more focused on games and just a, you know, a better console, not even Sony has backwards compatibility, and I don't think they ever will. And the reason for that is because, you know, if you think about it at launch, neither Microsoft nor Sony had backwards compatibility. And if you think about it as a business, you know, all backwards compatibility does, it just costs you money. You can't make any money from having the console have backwards compatibility. And the reason for that is if you can just take the old game you already own and stick it into the new console, you don't have to buy a new game. But, you know, Microsoft or Sony has to, you know, engineer a way to run the old games. And you're not buying any new games because you can just use the same old games from the 360, and at the same time they want you to upgrade from the current gen to the next gen, from the old games to the new games. So it doesn't really make sense for them, but, you know, you can tell that Microsoft, when a company like Microsoft does something like that, you know, they must really be struggling with the Xbox One sales to do something as drastic as that. But nonetheless, I think it's a great decision. It's awesome. I think a lot of people like that. The decision that the head of Xbox gave in an interview for why they did reverse compatibility is because they want to make it so that, I think, I'm not sure the exact words he used, but he basically said that, you know, he wants, or Xbox wants, people on the 360 to feel more comfortable about playing games on the Xbox One, which, you know, of all the things Xbox says and Microsoft and all these companies say that, you know, nobody believes, I actually believe him when he says that, because you think about it, if you're on a 360 and you look at the Xbox One like in a store or something, the dashboard is completely different than the Xbox One. It's just more difficult to use in terms of playing games, and they've made decisions and they've done things to help this out, like having the snap menu or whatever it's called, where it's kind of like the Xbox 360 guide, but it appears on the side, where there's like the party and the messages, you know, windows you can access from there. And, you know, they've done things to kind of make that better, but at the same time, you know, the Xbox One at its core isn't built to be, you know, exclusively a game console like the Xbox 360 was. But if you have reverse compatibility, it makes people think, all right, well, I got the Xbox One, I'll learn how to use it, but, you know, at the same time, I have old games I can still play on that. So it's not completely foreign in terms of, you know, buying a new thing. It's not like something, you know, you're not going to like, that the games you don't understand how to play. There's old games you can use. You know, and there's also new games that are coming, and it's more, it just makes it more based around games, which I think is something that people wanted. But not even Sony will do that, and I think you really have to give Microsoft credit for doing that. But at the same time, you have to understand how, you know, monumental of a negative response it took from consumers from Microsoft to do that. And, you know, I mean, and like I said, Microsoft, they're not making any money from reverse compatibility. They're not. But, you know, taking steps like that in the right direction to make to make the console better, to make it more people want it. You have to give them credit for that. You know, a lot of companies just release something and say, here it is. You know, if you don't like it, screw. If you do, here it is. Give us your money. You know, Microsoft kind of is that way, and they were when the Xbox One came out. But over time, you know, especially, you know, getting rid of all that DRM stuff before it launched, and all the decisions they made have kind of been, you know, you have to give them credit for making it more of what people wanted. However, there's still, you know, some big problems with the Xbox One. First of all, like I said, the dashboard is just counterintuitive to use. You know, like if you have an Xbox One and you look at the dashboard, you'll notice that, like, you know, sometimes games, the squares for games appear twice. So, like, if I have a Madden game, I'll see, like, a box that says Play Madden. And then there'll be other boxes for other things, and I'll see, like, another box on the same page that also says Madden, because it kind of reuses the same content. Just kind of like that whole theme, you know, from Windows 8 to the Windows Phone to Xbox One, that kind of experience they're trying to copy. It's counterintuitive. I don't like it, because I'm still on Windows 7 on my PC that I use for games. Because I just don't, it's just counterintuitive, you know, having all these squares, because they're trying to make everything, I understand they want to make everything the same experience, but on a console where you play video games, it just really doesn't make sense. But they've come a long way in making the console more of what people want, but just they really need to hammer out kind of making... you know, making the operating system, the dashboard, be more like the Xbox 360 and more built around playing games. You know, and with the TV feature, I mean, for the minority of users that use that, you know, fine, it's there, but it's nothing to be that excited about. The only other thing I would complain about, though, is kind of like the file system on the Xbox One. You cannot, and, you know, you can go try this now. I don't even think most people know this. You can't take files off of the Xbox One. If you try to put like a thumb drive in and, you know, like kind of, you know, move files around, you can't do it. There's no way on the Xbox One to move files onto separate storage. I'm sure the reason for that is because they don't want people, you know, hacking game saves and, you know, messing up their, you know, hacking their profiles and modding and stuff like that. Another thing that grinds my gears about the Xbox One is how difficult it is to have wireless chat. There's only a few headsets that I know of that weren't released too long ago. I think they were released last year, that let you chat wirelessly with people. Now the PlayStation 3 and I'm sure the PlayStation 4, you can just, you know, use a Bluetooth headset. I have no idea why it is the Xbox One, with the same thing with the 360 and all these years later with the Xbox One, they still don't let you do that. Pretty sure the Xbox One has Bluetooth in it, so there should be a way to do that, except the Bluetooth is used for, you know, for other things. It's not used just as like a, you know, a regular Bluetooth radio like in a computer or something. But I don't know why that is, because I think there's only like one or maybe two Turtle Beach headsets where you can chat wirelessly. I don't know why they make it so hard to have wireless chat, why they don't just let it be, you know, Bluetooth or something like that. But all in all, at the end of the day, the interface sucks. They've brought the console up to be more of what people want, but really the interface still sucks. It's counterintuitive. But the good news is that they're listening, you know, at least for the time being. I'm sure they'll stop caring after a while about what people have to say, but at least they're trying to fix things, and things are moving forward. But at the end of the day, the interface is terrible. Well, that's what I have to say about it. I'd say at the end of the day, the number one thing is the interface sucks. Just please fix that. But other than that, I think, you know, since it's you know, been released, it's come a long way. But there's definitely still room for improvement. Well, that's going to do it for this rant. If you have more things to complain about, definitely leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.